Alex Smith suffered a serious broken leg during the 2018 season, infection that nearly claimed his life, and he has worked his way back. He said last week he's cleared for football activities. He still hasn't passed a physical in Washington. They're taking their time with him. Yesterday, Peter, quarterback's coach Ken Zampese, had some very positive things to say about Alex Smith, his attitude, how he learns, and what it's going to take to get him back on the field. Can he protect himself? They're going to watch him in drills, watch him in 11-on-11. What does he do when a guy breaks through? Can he move away like he used to? But if this guy still has it physically, and he's only 36. Now, 36 used to be old as quarterbacks went. Not anymore. Not with Tom Brady turning 43 in 3 days. I'm fascinated by the possibility in this year, with everything that is in turmoil. And you look at what Alex Smith did with the 49ers in 2011, in the lockout year, when the 49ers were supposedly rebuilding, and Jim Harbaugh was in his first year as head coach, and the 49ers were within a muffed punt or two of making it to the Super Bowl. You got Ron Rivera, new coach, trying to stabilize things. If Alex Smith is healthy enough to protect himself and play like he did before the injury, and I know that's a big if, I don't know how you don't give him every chance to win that starting job over Dwayne Haskins, especially for this year.
You know, the Washington quarterback situation is absolutely fascinating. You got the starter for Ron Rivera in Carolina last year, who, when they brought him in this year, I just said, well, you know, my feeling is he's got a better chance to start than Dwayne Haskins when there's no offseason activity because Rivera knows him better. Now you get Alex Smith, and you basically, I said this to a talk show guy down there the other day, but I said that this is really, of all the amazing stories happening right now in the NFL, this is the most amazing. For Alex Smith, after watching that Stefania Bell ESPN incredible E60 story about with cameras in the room looking at his leg, that I could have sworn they were going to have to amputate his leg. And now he's on the active/physically unable to perform list. For people who don't know exactly what that means, let me tell you, he can do everything that any player can do in practice over the next month other than to practice. Okay? So, but he can do everything else. He can run, he can lift, he can do all the drills. You know, he can be in the one-on-ones and all this stuff. He can throw. My whole thing is, it's amazing to me that he's gotten this far. And, Mike, you're right. I don't assume he's going to win this job, but the fact that he's even in competition, he's even a thought for this job, to me is amazing.
Yeah, I cannot believe it. It's a great story, even if he never puts a helmet on again. But the idea that he's on the verge of being cleared to practice and that they're going to evaluate him carefully and see if he can still play like he used to. I mean, look, this is a guy who has been through offensive coordinator after offensive coordinator, and to the point where the offensive coordinator now in Washington, Scott Turner, is the son of the guy who was Alex Smith's offensive coordinator his second year in the league back in 2006, Norv Turner. So he's learned offenses, he's relearned offenses, he's unlearned offenses. He's always found a way to get it done. And starting in 2011, that year with the 49ers, he became a better quarterback. You know, it was a good 5-6 seasons before he emerged as a guy that we look at as a top half of the NFL quarterback. And then he got to Kansas City, and it worked out very well for the Chiefs with Alex Smith until they decided to go all in for Patrick Mahomes. And even then, Smith had a great final season in Kansas City. So, you know, you take that broken leg out of the mix, and Alex Smith is still going strong as the starting quarterback in Washington. And maybe Jay Gruden is still the head coach. They were 6-4, I believe, when Smith got injured in 2018, which is, you know, better than most Washington teams have been over the past 21 years that Daniel Snyder's owned the franchise. So I root for great stories. And this is nothing against Dwayne Haskins, who may have a very long and productive and successful career. And by all indications, he's checking all the boxes this offseason. He's rising to the challenge that was created for him by Ron Rivera. But, man, it's hard not to root for Alex Smith to get back on the field and play like he used to play and really put the capper on one of the most inspiring stories we've ever seen.
You know, two things about what you just said. Number one, isn't it amazing that after Alex Smith has one of the best 10 seasons in football in 2017, Andy Reid and Brett Veach trade him because essentially they want to play a kid who they've only seen one game, the one game he played against Denver. I find that to be, someday when Andy Reid, I assume he'll go into Canton, but someday when Andy Reid goes into Canton, that'll be a story I will long remember about. There's more to coaching a football team than just coaching, and there's decisions that you have to make, and that was a great one. But the other one I would say is Alex Smith at his peak has been a truly underrated player. His playoff duel with Drew Brees, in San Francisco a few years ago, when Joe Staley gets out on the edge and has the best pulling run block for a quarterback I think I've ever seen in my life. And Alex Smith runs around for the touchdown. That game where he went absolutely toe-to-toe with a transcendent quarterback in Drew Brees. How great he was that day. How great he was in 2017 with the Kansas City Chiefs. To me, I will feel bad if whenever he does leave the game, if anybody thinks that Alex Smith really didn't live up to the billing. Because, okay, look, there's been a lot of first-pick quarterbacks who've been better. Okay, no question about it. But he overcame a horrible team for a long time in San Francisco, and he stuck with it and has had some extremely good days, big days in the NFL.
You mentioned 2017, and I think the Chiefs knew all along what they had in Patrick Mahomes. We had Travis Kelce on the show that year, and he just went on and on about Mahomes. And there had to be a temptation when the Chiefs sputtered in the middle of the season to put Mahomes out there. We were calling for it. I wanted to see what Mahomes could do. I saw enough in preseason. I wanted to see what he could do. Alex Smith felt like he plateaued. But to his credit, Andy Reid's loyalty to Smith, he wanted to handle it the right way. He didn't want to just summarily bench Alex Smith. He wanted to let him finish out the job and see what he could do in 2017, and then they moved on. But they knew what they had in Patrick Mahomes. They knew from the practice field what the rest of us were going to see, and I kind of wish we still would have seen it in 2017, because who knows what the Chiefs would have done if Mahomes just lands on our radar screen out of the blue like that in November of a given year. But that wasn't what happened because of the loyalty and the good feeling toward Alex Smith, who's always been the consummate pro. Never been a problem anywhere he's been. He's always busted his butt, and he's worked and he's worked and he's worked. And that's the attitude that has got him back to the brink of being cleared to practice after an injury that should have ended his career, could have claimed his leg, could have claimed his life. So we're rooting for Alex Smith this season.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.